Draft Profile Series brought to you by Celtics.com.
Cameron Payne was this year's Ohio Valley Conference Player of the Year, and he's up next on our Draft Profile Series. Hi, I'm Marc D'Amico, and I'm on the phone with Murray State head coach Steve Prohm. He coached Payne and the Racers to a 27-5 record during the regular season. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here.
We appreciate you coming onto the show. And I got to ask you, first of all, Payne, obviously, when you look at his game logs throughout the regular season, he's remarkably consistent. What type of stabilizing force was he for your team this season?
Well, he was the heartbeat. He was the leader. He's what made us go. And, he wasn't playing great in November, and our team wasn't playing great for a lot of reasons. With some injuries, with some, family issues, just some health issues. And when he got back to being campaign, we were really, really good. And, everybody looks to him. They look to him for the big shot or to make the big play, whether it's the pass, the shot. He's tremendous leader, and as good as he is in college or was in college, I think he'll be as good or better in the NBA.
Now, you know as well as anyone that he wasn't a highly recruited high school athlete. So how did he, in 2 years' time, turn himself from that point into a potential first-round pick in the NBA draft?
Well, my assistant, William Small, did a great job recruiting him. He had recruited him for 2 years, and he always talked about that he would take this kid at basically a bunch of schools, because he thought he had a high major skill set. He had a lot of high major ability. He was just small. He was just very, very thin. And so he was always so complimentary of the kid. He knew he was going to be an all-league player, but obviously he didn't think he'd be leaving to go as a sophomore to go to the NBA and probably going to be a potential top 15 lottery pick. So it's a credit to his family, his upbringing. He's always played with a chip on his shoulder. He's got a high-level character. He's a humble kid, but he works extremely hard on his game. But I think what separates him is he just has such a great understanding and such a high IQ for the game.
And you talked about his size a little bit there. He's 6'2", but he's a little bit lean. Out of all of the things that he can work on heading into the draft, is his body at the top of the list, or is there something else that you think he needs to improve on?
I just think, he's 19, 20 years old, so just the maturity part of it. And then the other thing is just the size and strength, and that's just going to come with time. Everybody, all these teams call and they ask for weaknesses, and just don't see many outside of the stuff that's going to come with time, and that's strength and maturity. Great feel for the game, can make shots, can make teammates better, doesn't have to score to be effective, can just get 10 assists, 1 turnover like he did in the first round of the NIT this year against UTEP. He only had 14 points, but had 10 assists, 6 rebounds, and so just has such a terrific understanding of the game.
Now, you talk about him making shots. This is a guy who took about 6.5 three-pointers a game this season. So I've got to ask you, why did you give him that freedom, and what type of range does he have?
He's got great range, very, very good in transition, pulling up with deep range, transition threes. We'll shoot those a lot in workouts. But great players deserve a lot of freedom. And so he makes coaches look really, really good because he has such a good understanding, a good feel, and he's just very, very talented, and he just got better and better. And the great thing is he did come into a situation where he could play a lot of minutes right off the bat as a freshman to be a starting point guard at a very good program. And, he just was able to develop through playing. I think that's very important.
You look at his numbers, you see 20 points a game, and most people are going to look at that and think, okay, this is a guy who can score the basketball. But tell me about his playmaking ability and how well he can run an offense and make plays for others.
I don't think he's so good from A to B in transition, getting the ball up the floor. He doesn't have to be. College is different. Your best player is usually going to be a guy that's going to score points for you. If he transcends into the NBA game, playing around better players, he may not have to score, and he's very, very effective where, like I mentioned earlier, it's UTEP, they run triangle and 2, they run box and 1, they face guard. Well, he only had 14 points that night, but he had 10 assists and only 1 turnover. And so he's the third most efficient player in college basketball this year. And when you're the third most efficient player in the country on a team that's won 29 games, you're going to be able to not just run good offense, but be very, very effective in doing so.
Now, Cameron is 6'2", but he's got a 6'7" wingspan. How does that incredible length for a guard help him out on the court?
But defensively, it helps him because he's really good in passing lanes. He's really good digging the post or getting deflections, getting his hand on the basketball. And then offensively, he's good because he can, he gets to the air sometimes. And he's got some really good length to where he can go for people or he can make decisions late with the length. And then he can finish as well around the rim. But defensively, his length's been really good for him with deflections.
All right, well, Coach Cameron Payne, a guard out of Murray State, 20 points per game, the Ohio Valley Conference Player of the Year. Coach Steve Prohm out of Murray State, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks so much. I wish you guys all the best.
Well, thanks, Coach. For all of you watching out there, make sure you stay tuned right here for more Draft Profile Series. Thanks for watching.